A customer got banned for throwing a tantrum, but came back in disguise. Alright, so imagine this. A grown man in a terrible disguise trying to sneak back into a store after getting banned for throwing a full-blown toddler-level tantrum. Yeah, this actually happened, and it was even worse than you're thinking. I work at a fairly popular retail store, you know, the kind where people act like the world is ending if we're out of their favorite brand of dish soap. We get all kinds of wild customers. But this guy? Oh, this guy was next level. Let's rewind to the first incident. He came in on a random Tuesday already looking like he was in a bad mood. He was one of those guys who thinks customer service workers are his personal servants, barking out demands without so much as a please or thank you. Whatever. We're used to that. But then he asked for a specific item, we'll call it fancy brand X. Unfortunately for him, we were completely out. Now any normal person would just shrug and pick another brand, right? Not this dude. He went from 0 to 100 in seconds, slamming his hands on the counter, dramatically gasping like we just told him his whole family was kidnapped. He starts yelling, "How can you be out? This is unacceptable. What kind of store is this?" "Sir, it's a grocery store. We sell food, not miracles." I stayed polite, explained we had a shipment coming in next week, even offered an alternative. But nope, not good enough. The tantrum escalated. He's now kicking the bottom of the counter, arms flailing, face turning red. At this point, he looks like a toddler who just got told no at a toy store. And then, and this is where it gets really good. He starts knocking stuff off the counter. Just full-on sweeping displays of candy, gum, and lighters onto the floor. My manager rushes over, customers are staring, and security is already on the way. By the time security shows up, he's screaming about how he's the customer and that he pays our salaries. Classic. They tell him to leave. He refuses. They tell him again, and this time he throws in an "I know my rights." Long story short, he gets escorted out, screaming about how he'll never shop here again. Great. Goodbye. Except, oh no, he wasn't done. A week later, we see a new customer, and I use the word new very loosely, because it was painfully obvious who it was. Imagine the worst disguise you've ever seen. Now make it 10 times worse. He came back, wearing a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a fake mustache. Like, "Sir, please." At first we thought, there's no way this dude thinks this is working. But he fully believed it. He walked in like he was some kind of master spy, browsing the aisles like a cartoon villain. Now me and my coworkers are just watching this in absolute awe. We didn't even have to call security, the store manager was already on it. She walked right up to him, tapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Sir, you are banned." And I swear to you, this grown man had the audacity to play dumb. He goes, "Oh, banned? Me? I don't know what you mean, sir." My manager wasn't having it. She straight up said, "The disguise isn't working. Leave." And then in one final act of dramatic stupidity, he yanks off the fake mustache, throws it on the floor, and shouts, "This is discrimination." Against who? Bad actors? Security showed up again, and this time they made it very clear that if he ever stepped foot in the store again, the police would get involved. He left, still shouting about how we were violating his rights. And that was the last we ever saw of Mustache Man. At least, I think it was. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he came back next time in a wig and a monocle. I caught a client trying to scam us, but my boss wants me to be nice anyway. You ever catch someone red-handed in a scam? Lay out the proof in crystal clear detail, and still get told to be nice about it. Yeah, that's my life. And let me tell you, this client was on some next-level cartoon villain type nonsense. So I work in a business that deals with high-ticket services. Think contracts, invoices, and a lot of back and forth with clients who think negotiation means trying to screw us over in the most ridiculous way possible. But this guy took it to a whole new level. Let's call him Mr. Scammy McGee. Mr. Scammy had been a client for a few months, always pulling little, "Oops, my payment didn't go through," or "I thought that was included for free" moves. Annoying, but nothing we hadn't seen before. Until, one day he puts in a massive order, like a 5-figure deal level of massive. We're talking customized services, high-end packages, the works. It's so big that my boss is practically foaming at the mouth over the commission. I'm suspicious, but hey, I'm just the one processing the order. Fast forward a few weeks, and everything is delivered perfectly. No complaints, no issues. We even get a friendly little thank you email from him. But then, a month later, I get an urgent email from him claiming we never delivered anything. Now at first, I assume he just made a mistake. So I pull up all the records, signed contracts, delivery confirmations, email threads, even screenshots of him literally saying, "This looks great, thanks." I send everything over and politely say, "Hey, here's all the proof that we fulfilled your order." And this man, he replies with, "No, this must be a mistake. I never received anything." CR, excuse me? I double check with the team, triple check, even ask if maybe some alternate reality version of him placed this order, because surely, no one is this bad at scamming. But oh he is, because the next thing I know, he's disputing the entire charge with his bank, trying to claim fraud. Yeah, this man straight up tried to get a 5-figure order for free. At this point, I go full detective mode. I put together an ironclad case, like I'm a lawyer in a courtroom drama. I've got timestamps, receipts, tracking logs, screenshots of his own emails, even voice recordings of him confirming the order. I take all of this to my boss, expecting him to be like, "Oh yeah, let's shut this scammer down immediately." But instead, my boss, who I should mention, was absolutely drooling over this client's money from the beginning, goes, "Yeah, but let's not be rude about it." I blink. "Excuse me," he shrugs. "We don't want to upset him. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? My guy, I have documented evidence that this man is straight up committing fraud. So I push back, I say, "We have everything we need to shut this down. We can fight the charge back, send a legal notice, blacklist him, whatever it takes." And my boss? He laughs. Like I just suggested we duel this guy in a sword fight. We don't want to be aggressive, just be nice. Try to work it out. Okay, so let me get this straight. A client is stealing from us, and instead of shutting it down immediately, I have to play nice? Fine. You want me to be nice? I'll be nice. I send Scammy McGee the most polite yet devastatingly factual email in history. I attach everything, every receipt, every confirmation, every screenshot. I lay it out step by step so a literal child could understand that he is in fact lying through his teeth. And then I end it with, "Please let us know how you'd like to proceed. We'd be happy to escalate this with your bank and legal team if needed." And guess what? Suddenly, magically, miraculously, he finds the order. He replies with, "Oh, my mistake. I must have overlooked it. Thanks for the clarification." Oh sure. But wait, it gets better. Because the next day this man, this absolute clown, emails my boss directly, complaining that I was too aggressive with my response. And my boss, oh my incredible spineless boss, he pulls me aside and says, "See, this is why I told you to be nice." I wanted to scream. At this point, I realize something: my boss doesn't actually care about right and wrong. He just cares about keeping any client, no matter how scummy, happy. So I make a decision. I start documenting everything. Every shady client, every ridiculous request, every time my boss tells me to be nice, instead of doing the right thing. And a few months later, when a bigger scam finally screws the company over for real, guess who already has a perfectly organized resignation letter ready to go? Yep, me. And the best part? I took all my proof and sent it to the higher-ups. My boss got investigated. Guess who suddenly wasn't so nice after that? A client tried to bribe me, but my boss still wants me to work with them. You ever have one of those moments where your brain just short-circuits because of how insane something is? Like you're staring at a situation in real time, and every part of you is screaming, "This isn't happening. This can't be real." That was me last Tuesday, sitting across from a guy who had just, without a second thought, slid an envelope full of cash across the table, like we were in some second-rate mafia movie. And the worst part? My boss doesn't even care. Let me back up. I work in corporate sales, big deals, big contracts, the kind of stuff where a single client can mean millions for the company. A lot of my job is handling client relationships, making sure they're happy, smoothing over negotiations, all that fun stuff. Now most clients, they're pushy, sure, but normal. They fight for better deals, they try to sweet talk you into a discount, but nothing like this. This guy, let's call him Mark, runs a mid-sized company that's been desperate to lock in a deal with us. He's been on my radar for months, constantly pushing for better terms, more perks, special treatment. At first I thought he was just aggressive. Turns out he was something else entirely. So last week we grabbed lunch to finalize some details. It's supposed to be routine, go over the numbers, make sure everything's good to go, except about halfway through, Mark suddenly shifts gears. He starts getting weirdly personal, asking about my workload, if I get any special perks for closing big deals, what kind of bonuses I make, if my boss takes care of me. It feels off, but I brush it off and steer the conversation back to business. Then, as casually as if he were handing me a napkin, he slides an envelope across the table. Think of this as a little appreciation gift. he says, winking. I look at the envelope, then at him, then back at the envelope. For a second, my brain refuses to process what's happening. I actually laugh, because in my head I'm thinking, there's no way this guy is actually doing what I think he's doing. But he's dead serious. I pick it up, open it just enough to see inside, and my stomach drops. Stacks of cash, not a couple hundred, not even a couple thousand, easily 5 figures. I freeze. My hands go cold. This isn't just shady, this is illegal. Mark leans in, all smiles. Just a little something to make sure we get priority service. I feel my pulse in my ears. I push the envelope back so fast it nearly slides off the table. I can't accept this, Mark. His smile flickers. Just for a second. Then he chuckles like I just told him. I'm on a diet and refuse dessert. Come on, don't be dramatic. It's just an incentive. We both win. No, I say firmer this time. That's not how this works. And now suddenly the friendly act drops. His whole face shifts. He leans in, voice lower. Look, let's not make this complicated. You want to get ahead, right? People do this all the time. People do this all the time. At this point, I'm done. I stand up, grab my stuff, and walk out before I say something that'll get me fired. The whole drive back, I'm shaking. I don't even know if it's anger or disbelief or what. But I know one thing. I have to tell my boss. That's when it gets worse. I march straight into his office, close the door, and lay it all out. The lunch, the envelope, the people do this all the time. Comment everything. I expect him to be pissed. I expect him to call legal or HR or someone to deal with this. Instead, he just sighs. Like I told him we ran out of printer paper. Yeah, Mark's a little pushy, he says. I blink, a little pushy. He literally tried to bribe me. My boss just waves a hand like I'm being dramatic. It's not ideal, but we need this contract. It's big money. Just keep working with him. But be careful. I feel like I've been slapped. Be careful. Look, he continues. If he tries anything again, we'll deal with it. But for now, just get the deal done. I leave his office in a complete daze. I tell a coworker, someone I trust, thinking maybe she'll help me make sense of it. But she just shrugs. Yeah, stuff like that happens sometimes. Just pretend it didn't. Pretend it didn't. Am I the only one here who thinks this is insane? So now, I'm stuck. My boss doesn't care. HR, I don't even know if they'd do anything. And Mark, now he knows he can get away with this. That means he's just going to keep pushing, seeing how far he can go. And me, I'm stuck working with this guy, pretending like he didn't try to straight up bribe me. I don't know what to do. Do I go over my boss's head? Report it anyway? Walk away from the whole thing? All I know is I am not about to let some sleazy client treat me like I'm for sale. But clearly my company, they might feel differently. I got in trouble for not being friendly enough to a customer who called me slurs. You ever have one of those moments where reality just completely breaks down? Like you're standing there watching something unfold and every single part of you is screaming, this isn't how the world is supposed to work. Because that was me, sitting in my manager's office being scolded, yes scolded, for not being friendly enough to a customer who had just hours earlier screamed a racial slur at me across the store. I work retail, which, as anyone who has ever done time in the trenches of customer service knows, means I deal with my fair share of entitled psychos on a daily basis. Most of the time, it's the usual nonsense, people throwing fits over expired coupons demanding to speak to corporate, because we won't give them a $500 TV for free, or acting like they're above waiting in line like everyone else. But every now and then you get a special one, the kind of customer whose level of entitlement is so unhinged, you start wondering if they were raised by wolves, or hedge fund managers. This guy? He was one of those. So it's a normal day. I'm working the register, zoning out like I always do to survive the mind-numbing hellscape of scanning barcodes and pretending I don't secretly want to set the whole place on fire. Then, he walks in. Let's call him Todd, because if you met him, you'd absolutely agree. He's a Todd. Todd is already pissed, like full resting anger face. The kind of guy who storms into a store like he's about to declare war on the first employee who so much as breathes in his direction. And unfortunately, that employee was me. He comes stomping up to the counter, shoving a bag into my face before I can even say, "Hi, how are you? This garbage is defective," he barks. I take the bag, open it, and shocker, it's a completely destroyed electronic device, like straight up ripped in half. Me. What happened? Todd. It just broke by itself. Of course, it just spontaneously combusted in your hands. Sure, Todd. I already know where this is going. I glance at the receipt. He bought it over a year ago. Me. Sir, I'm really sorry, but this is outside our return policy. Todd, what do you mean? That's bullsh*T. This thing is defective. Me. I totally get that, but our policy only covers returns within 30 days. Todd, I don't give a F* about your policy. ***. Now at this point I should mention, I'm used to getting yelled at. You don't survive retail without developing some kind of trauma response superpower where you can smile through absolutely anything. But then, he drops the slur, loud, in my face, in front of a whole line of customers, and suddenly it's like everything around me stops. I feel my hands go numb, my brain just shuts off for a second, like it physically can't process what just happened. Because let's be clear, I'm not talking about your casual ignorant old man racism. I'm talking about a slur so vile, so aggressively disgusting, that every single person in the store goes dead silent the second it leaves his mouth. And the worst part, he's smiling, like he's proud of himself, like he just dropped the ultimate Uno reverse card and won the argument. I feel my stomach turn, my face burns, my fight or flight kicks in, and trust me, I want nothing more than to choose fight. But instead, I just go completely emotionless, because I know how this works. If I yell back, if I snap even a little bit, I'll be the one who gets fired. So I do the only thing I can do. I stare him dead in the eyes and say, flatly, "Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave." Todd, oh what? You don't like that? You sensitive little piece of shit. Me, sir, leave. Now. He's still shouting as I press the button for security. They escort him out while he's still screaming, still throwing a tantrum, still calling me every name in the book. At this point I'm just done. I take a quick break, go to the back, breathe for a second, then come back out and finish my shift like a damn professional. I think that's the end of it. A few hours later, I get called into my manager's office, and the second I walk in, I already know, this is not gonna go the way it should. She's sitting there with that fake, "I'm disappointed in you" face, like I just got caught stealing pens from the supply closet. "So I gotta complain about you today." I blink. From who? "A customer said you were rude to him." I laugh, like actually laugh, because surely she's joking. Surely, me. Are we talking about the guy who called me a slur? Her look, I understand he was inappropriate, but you still need to remain professional. I stare at her. I literally just asked him to leave. Her, but in a way that came across as aggressive. I feel my eye twitch. He called me a slur, in front of other customers, and I asked him to leave. That's it. Her, I know. But we need to make sure all customers feel welcome. All customers? I actually have to clamp my mouth shut before I say something that'll get me fired on the spot. Because apparently in this hellish nightmare of a workplace, even customers who literally scream racial slurs in my face still deserve to feel welcome. I try again, calmer. Are you saying I should have been friendlier to him? Her, I'm saying that no matter how customers act, we have to be the bigger person. At this point I'm so far beyond done. I just sit there staring at her, wondering if I've officially lost my... If this is some kind of elaborate prank, if I'm on a hidden camera show where the big twist is that my manager is actually a deranged lunatic. But no, she's dead serious. She lets me off with a verbal warning, which is already insane, because she wants me to reflect on my customer service approach. I walk out of her office in a complete rage blackout. So now what? I honestly don't know. I want to quit so bad, but I also need the paycheck. At the same time, how am I supposed to keep working for a company that genuinely believes being friendly to a racist is more important than protecting its employees? All I know is this: next time a customer calls me a slur, I won't be so damn friendly. A customer demanded to speak to the manager, not realizing I was the manager. You ever watch a situation unfold in real time and just think, oh, this is gonna be good? Because that was me, standing there, watching a full-grown adult throw a tantrum, all while demanding, no screeching, to speak to the manager. And me? I was the manager. I work retail. Specifically, I'm a store manager at one of those chain stores where people think the employees are their personal servants. If you've ever worked customer service, you already know the job is 30% stocking shelves, 10% corporate nonsense, and 60% dealing with absolute lunatics. And on this particular day, I met a Hall of Fame level lunatic. It all started when I was covering the front register. It was a slow afternoon, I had given some of my employees their break, and I was just handling a couple of basic transactions when she walked in. Let's call her Karen, because if you met her, you would absolutely agree this woman was a Karen down to her soul. Karen comes stomping in, sunglasses perched on top of her overly bleached hair, oversized handbag clutched in her talons, looking around like she just smelled something rancid. Already, I know this woman is going to be a problem. She marches up to the counter and slaps a crumpled up receipt on the register. Not hands, slaps, like she's serving me a lawsuit. Karen, I need to return this. I pick up the receipt and look at the item. It's a blender. Me. Okay, do you have the item with you? Karen. No, I threw it away. I blink. You threw it away? Karen. Yes, it was garbage. Me. So, you don't have the blender? Karen. No, but I have the receipt, so I want my money back. Now, at this point, I should clarify something. I have worked in retail for years. I have seen some things, but this is a new level of entitlement. Me. Ma'am, I can't process a return without the actual item. Karen. Why not? Me. Because there's nothing to return. Karen makes this exaggerated scoffing noise like I just told her we no longer accept dollars as currency. Karen, this is ridiculous. I'm a paying customer. Me. I understand, but I can't refund you for an item you no longer have. Karen, I don't need the item. I have the receipt. That should be enough. Me. But the receipt is proof of purchase. It's not a magical refund button. Karen's face is turning beet red. She jabs a finger at my chest like I just insulted her entire bloodline. Karen, I want to speak to your manager. Oh, here we go. I pause for a moment, then, keeping my face completely neutral, I say, me. I am the manager. Silence. A glorious, beautiful silence. Karen's brain visibly short-circuits. She blinks. Her mouth opens, then closes. She looks around, as if hoping another bigger manager is going to descend from the ceiling like a retail Batman. Karen. No, you're not. Me. Yes, I am. Karen. No, you are not. Oh, we're in denial now. Me. Ma'am. I promise you, I am the store manager. Karen's eye twitches. She looks me up and down, like she's assessing whether I look managery enough. Apparently, I fail the Karen inspection, because she suddenly smirks. Karen. No, you're just some cashier. Get me the real manager. At this point, my assistant manager Jake comes up to the register, having overheard some of this nonsense. Jake. Oh, yeah, they are the manager. Karen. Warrels on Jake. No, they're not. I want the head manager. Jake. Without missing a beat. Yeah, that's them. Karen turns bright red. You can actually see the moment she realizes she has backed herself into a Karen corner. But does she admit she was wrong? Of course not. Karen. Well, then I want corporate's number. Jake shrugs and hands her a little customer feedback card that has the corporate number printed on it. Karen snatches it out of his hand like she just won a prize. Then she glares at me. Karen, you'll be hearing from them. Me. Smiling. Can't wait. She storms out, still grumbling under her breath, probably already rehearsing her Oscar-worthy complaint call to corporate. And guess what? Corporate never called, because shocker, even they wouldn't entertain this insanity. So, what did we learn? 1. Customers will literally argue with reality if it doesn't fit their narrative. 2. Some people think speaking to the manager is a cheat code that lets them get whatever they want. And 3. There is no greater joy than watching a Karen self-destruct in real time.